So we begin week 3 in Greek of the book of Acts. Go ahead and see if you can pronounce that. And here's my attempt. Petros de kai Ioannes anebinon eis to hieron epitain horon tes prosukes tain enatain. Verse 2. Kai tis aner kolos ek koilias metros autou huparkon ebastazato hon etithun kathemeron pros tain thuron tu hieru tain legomenain horion tu itain ella mosunain para ton eisporumenon eis to hieron, verse 3, hos idon petron kai Ioannein melontas eis enai eis to hieron erota ella mosunain labain. Okay, some of those are a handful to me. Let's see if we can translate it now. Give it a shot. Here's my translation. And Peter and John, procrastinator, post-positive, were going up, imperfect, I'm going to parse that later, into the temple. Temple is used like 3 times in these verses, or anyway, it's used a lot in this section, of course, maybe only twice in these verses. At the hour of the prayer, that is the 9th. Notice that Greek doesn't have to put words that go with each other right next to each other. So, tain horon this is the accusative case. Prepositions take certain cases. They're little dictators. You will be in this case if you come with me. And so in this case, epi actually can take lots of cases, but in this case, it uses the accusative at the hour. Which hour? It's the 9th hour. This is also accusative. I know that this goes with hour because they're both, see, tain, because it's they're both accusative, feminine, singular. This is like a little tack. Upon the hour, tack, tack, tack. That is the 3rd one. And it doesn't matter that you put of the prayer in between. The accusative magnetizes these 2 words to each other. So at the 9th hour of prayer. So the 3 p.m., in other words, in the afternoon was an hour of prayer. Verse 2, and a certain man, when tis has the accent, it's an interrogative pronoun. Who? But when tis doesn't have the accent, it's an indefinite pronoun. So a certain man, not a definite one, but a certain man. Well, I mean, it is a definite man, but anyway, it's an indefinite pronoun. And a certain man, a lame man, a certain lame man, a certain man, lame from the belly of the mother of him, lame from his mother's womb, existing, huparkon, being, so this, we have to catch this and then put it back here. And a certain man, being lame from the womb of his mother, was being carried. I can't remember if I parsed this one, but I'll do it in the interlinear. Whom, relative pronoun, relative clause, whom they were placing, form of tithemi, I'll talk about it in the interlinear, daily, according to the day, daily, at the door, gate, later it says, but this is the word for door, at the gate of at the door of the temple. Again, here's another one where this tain, we can go on to say things about the door later, even after saying the door of the temple. And the fact that this is accusative and agrees with tain thuron, tacks it to it. The door, which one? The being called beautiful door. The being called beautiful, Horiah, the beautiful gate. In order to ask, this is an infinitive game, an infinitive construction. I'll mention it in the interlinear. In order to ask an act of mercy, ele emosune. Alms is how it's usually translated. From the ones entering into the temple. Okay, participle and our passive participles. Of course, Ace peruomai, omai is deponent. And so it looks middle or passive, but it's actually translated actively. From the ones entering into the temple, verse 3, who, that is the lame man, there's the relative pronoun again, who having seen, this is the participle of horao, id, video, is the aorist stem of it. So aorist participle, we're going to say having seen, who having seen Peter and John about to, it's a funny participle. It means being about, and you need an infinitive to finish it. Being about to do what? Being about to enter, that's an infinitive, 6 out of 7 infinitive forms and an I. Being about to enter into the temple, erota, they were asking. That's the imperfect of erotao, to ask. They were, he was asking, that is. He was asking labein eunerist. He was asking to receive an act of mercy, an elemosune. He was asking to receive alms. Okay, well, I've pretty much done the interlinear, but let's do it again in more. Now let's slow it down and do it in more detail. Both Peter and John were ascending, I'm going to parse that in a moment, into the temple at the hour of prayer, namely the 9th, okay, verse 2. And a certain man lame from the womb of his mother being, by the way, huparko, and this is the same form that's used in Philippians 2 in the hymn, being in the form of God. This is a present active. Parsing things that I don't parse later, this is a present active participle. Huparko, it's got all the letters there. On is a nominative masculine singular participle ending. So it's a present active participle, nominative masculine singular. Ebastazato, that's a handful. There's the augment of the imperfect. All the letters of the present stem are there, so it's imperfect. It's passive because being carried. Amenu eta. Those are passive endings. I have videos on all these endings and everything. Just message me on YouTube or in Patreon if you want me to link you to the videos that tell you about these endings or about these sorts of things, or I'll make a video if I don't have one. Whom they were placing. Now, I forgot to parse this later on, but you notice that with tithemi, it has an irregular, remember the me verbs have a funny reduplication in the present with an iota. And so it's there, tithemi. So this is the present stem. Present stem with an augment is the imperfect tense. So they were putting, or they were placing. There's been a bit of a crash here of an epsilon that seems to be part of the stem of tithemi with an omicron of the ending on, third person plural ending. And so epsilons and omicrons crashed. Ooh, there's been a crash here. So this is an imperfect active indicative third plural from tithemi. They were placing, whom they were placing daily, relative clause, telling us about the man, at the door of the temple, the being called beautiful one. This is, it's called attributive because the noun is here, but it's way back here. So if somebody said, hey, we want you to make a new translation of the New Testament, we would bring this back and say, at the door that was called beautiful, or well, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, okay. In order to ask, so this is an infinitive. 6 out of the 7 infinitive forms end in I. The other one is ain. This is from aiteo, so it's a nice little present active infinitive. The genitive article, to, with an infinitive, tends to express purpose, in order to ask. Literally, it's of the to ask, which is bad English. We have to play games with the infinitives and come up with better English. In order to ask alms, an act of mercy, from the ones entering. I don't think I parsed this later. Ace peruomai, it's all the letters of the present stem are there. Omai, it's deponent. So even though men are passive participles, we're going to translate it actively. So this is a present, middle or passive deponent participle. And then the article never lies. This is not the nominative singular of this own. This is the genitive plural, and I know it from the article. Genitive masculine plural from, because the preposition says you will be in genitive. From the ones entering into the temple, verse 3, who, having seen, I already mentioned, it is the aorist stem of blepo or horao, to see. So video, having seen, it's an aorist participle, and that's nominative masculine singular. Who, having seen Peter and John being about to enter. Okay, so notice that Peter and John are singular, but together they match with a plural. That makes sense because there are two of them. They're both about to enter. Mello, this is present. My aunt is an active participle, present active participle. Accusative masculine plural. Even though the alpha might make you think feminine, it's third declension, and it's a different kind of os. I'll parse this one in a second. This is an unusual form, delights my soul. Into the temple. He was asking, I don't think I parsed this later, it's erotao, so an epsilon is augmented to an eta, but all the letters are there. They've been a bit fried, but they're there. So the epsilon is hiding in there. It's just been fried, like a fried mushroom. It's hiding underneath. So it's augmented, vowels augment by lengthening. So it is a present stem with an augment. That's imperfect. He was asking. The third person singular, it's a contract verb. Erotao. So the alpha is crashing with that epsilon that's a third person singular ending. With alphas and epsilons, whichever comes first wins, and the alpha came first, so it wins. And so the epsilon loses. So he was asking to receive an act of mercy. Labain, it's labing you in aorist. Ain is an infinitive ending, to receive. Okay, so parsing for the day. Anebainon. So anabino, what has happened to anabino? Notice that it is, all the letters of the present stem are there. Because this is a compound, ana, up, bino, go. With compounds, the augment happens in front of the root word, or the stem, the fundamental word. And so this is the augment. It's hiding right there in front of bino. So it has all the letters of the present stem with an augment. That's imperfect. It's active. It's indicative. This is a third person plural ending. On, es, amen, eta, on, This is third person plural. They were going up. Okay? Huparkon, I already went through that in the interlinear. This one I didn't, though. Lego, my ego. This it's present because all the letters of the present are there. Men are passive or middle participles, but let's go with passive here. Passive participle from the men. Ain is a accusative feminine singular ending. One of the first endings you learn if you're taking Greek. Being said or being called. Itain, again, I've already parsed this. I think the ain tells me it's an active infinitive. Ait is the present. And then lastly, this fun one. So this is from eisemi. This is eimi in the New Testament normally means I am. But from my little dabbling with classical Greek once upon a time, I know that there is another meaning for, in fact, you might say it's a different word. Historically, where these come from, I don't know. But in Greek, in classical Greek, two different quite distinct meanings of eimi derived. One is the one that is used in the New Testament, I am. But there was a very different meaning for eimi that meant to go. And again, it's listed as a different word even in classical dictionaries. And so eisemi means to go into. But this is not a common form. This particular word is not a common word in the New Testament. And again, I may be wrong, but it makes me think that Luke, or the author of Acts, whatever you want to say, is a little bit more educated probably than some, more classically educated, shall we say. I mean, Paul's clearly educated, but Paul, and I actually, to be honest, I'm not averse to the idea that Paul might have had a little gymnasium or gymnasium education in addition to his rabbinic education. I feel like in the early first century, before the whole Caligula crisis, I think out of the diaspora, sometimes Jews probably did do a little Greek education. I think Philo probably had a little Greek education, just my opinion. I don't know. But so Paul was an educated guy. Whether or not, I don't know that he was in a gymnasium, but Luke seems to have a little bit more education, maybe. I mean, formal and Hellenistic and standard, normal, than maybe some of the other authors of the New Testament. Okay, I probably didn't put that very well. So this is an interesting word. And notice that the infinitive of eimi, to be, is enai. The fact that the infinitive is ienai says to me that this is the other form of eimi, the other word eimi. Okay, so this is a present active infinitive. I think that iota there is a hint that it's present, even though this isn't really well, it is a me verb, isn't it? Which again, this speaks. There's ancient DNA here. This is the Star-Lord verb. Anyway, but it's present. The iota, I think, helps us see it is present. It's an active infinitive. 6 out of 7 infinitives end in I. Okay, I've spent too long on that. May you have a blessed day as we begin Acts chapter 3. We're going to get a healing here.